Okay, Board Member Davis. Board Member Paget.
I'm here.
Board Member Titus. Okay, and Vice Chair, he's not joining us this evening, and Chair Russell.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, you can, a quorum have not been established as of yet, but
Right.
Madam Attorney, you can go ahead and read.
Thank you. Pursuant to Executive Order number -20-69, issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis on March 20th, 2020, and subsequent amendments, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum of its members present physically or at any specific location, and utilizing communications media technology such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54 5B2 of the Florida statutes. The board members of the Community Redevelopment Agency appearing remotely for this meeting are Chair Russell, Board Member Paget, and Board Member Burke. An opportunity was given to the public to email the CRA clerk prior to the CRA meeting. The CRA clerk will, for the records at the appropriate time, state whether there have been any questions, comments, concerns on items that you are here on this evening's meeting agenda. This meeting is being streamed live at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka.
You're muted, Chair.
I'm sorry about that. Got a little grandson in the background that's having himself a ball. Madam Clerk, did you receive anything from the public?
I have not received anything, any comments.
Okay. Madam Attorney, can you help us on how do we proceed? Do we have to wait 15 minutes for to establish a quorum?
As I heard, there's no official business being done tonight, correct? So there's no votes or anything?
That is correct.
So you should be able to do your presentations.
Okay, well,
If you want to continue with the meeting.
Okay, I'll ask the clerk if she will poll the other members, Board Member Paget and Board Member Burke, and see how do they want to proceed, because I know that they have another meeting after this meeting as well. Do you want to proceed with this meeting tonight, or you want to give the other members a few 15 minutes or so grace period? Had Board Member Paget and then Board Member Burke, can you tell me, how do you want to proceed?
And thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Can we ask the clerk to reach out to those that have not? I heard we heard 2 notices of those that could not attend. So I think it's 2 more that we're still not confirmed. Can we reach out to them and get a status of where they are? And whether or not they're attending. If they're not going to attend, I wouldn't want to proceed with the business because it seems as though there'll be presentations that the full board should be aware of, especially with the changes coming up due to elections. So I want to make sure as many people are a part of the conversation as possible. That's where I stand, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Burke. You're on mute.
Excuse me, Chairwoman Russell. I concur with Chairmember Paget. We should have the board members here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, were you able to reach anyone?
I'm about to reach now. Chair.
Okay, we'll take a few moments and
Okay.
wait.
Ms. Titus. Okay. Chair Russell.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I tried to reach Board Member Titus. She won't be in attendance tonight. She won't be in attendance, and we're not able to reach Board Member Davis as well.
Okay. Okay, it's not, the time now is 5:12. We're going to give it to 5:15. And if Board Member Davis doesn't come on by 5:15, we're going to adjourn the meeting because we won't have a quorum. And Board Member Titus will not be attending. So in the meantime, I encourage everyone to stay safe, keep your masks on, and continue to wash your hands and do all of those things that we normally do, because I've become a professional hand washer. And not only hand washer, sanitizer user. Soap and water is a good thing, but remember that we're still in a pandemic and you got to be safe, if not for yourself, for others around. I talked to a friend of mine and she had COVID a few months ago and went to the doctor and he told her that she still had strands of the COVID. That was news to me. So that lets us know that we're vulnerable at all times. So let's be vigilant in keeping ourselves, our family, our grandparents, our children, and our community safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this as the PRA manager. I know we're at a point where there may be some transitions taking place as it relates to membership in the board. We know that we have Board Member Kelly, who has termed out for his position, not only as a member of the CRA board, but also as a member of the city commission. So we're definitely going to be missing at least one person on this particular board. And I know that there are two others positions that are subject to appointments and elections. So I just want to say that it's been a pleasure working with you all that have been with us through the grind of putting the CRA in place. We're still going through documentation, trying to make sure that our CRA functions the way it's supposed to function. And we're being challenged almost on a weekly basis with documentation requests and making sure that proper information is in place. That's one of the reasons why the memorandum of understanding was placed on the agenda, because I wanted to at least bring before you some information as it relates to how the city and the CRA are to continue to relate to one another. That's not something that needed to have action item at this time, and it could be held off to a later date. But I just wanted to at least let those of you all that are a part of this board to know that we appreciate you, we appreciate your leadership, and we hope that we will at least be able to continue to have you on this particular board as we begin to move this city and do some great things within the CRA.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gay, and I'm quite sure Board Member Vice Chair Kelly feels the same way. I must say, with all honesty, the last maybe 2-3 years of sitting on this board has been a pleasure. We have moved towards pushing the CRA forward. That was the purpose of me even agreeing to be a part of this board, is to see something positive happen in the city of Opa-locka. And whether I'm here or not, you will always have my support to work with the CRA and to make sure that the city is moving forward along with the vision of the commission and what you, Mr. Mayor, and the commission is pushing forward. We look forward to continuing to work to make sure that Opa-locka is being progressive in their efforts. So as I said, whether I'm here or not, if you, I'll be here to support you all in your efforts, because I think in the last two years, we've come a long way. As the song say, we've come a long way, baby. We've come a long way. And I appreciate you, Mr. Gay, Ms. Hall, Mr. Lee, and Mr. Lane. Appreciate your working with me and making sure that we get the things that we need for the CRA and that we move forward. So thank you very much to the City Attorney's Office. Thank you very much, IT. Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson and Mr. Lubos. Thank you very much to the Finance Department. I know sometimes it seems like we might have been a little tough, but just trying to be transparent and pushing the city forward. Thank you for allowing me to push you to get the things that we need. And of course, to our city manager and assistant city manager, Mr. Pate and Mr. Ellis, thank you all. It's a pleasure, has been a pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to work, because I'm not selling my house in Opa-locka. I'm staying right here. I get phone calls, we get phone calls every day. No, we're staying right here. We like where we live. So to all the board members, not only Mayor, Board Member Burke, thank you for your support. Davis, Titus, thank each of Bass, thank each and every one of you all for your support. It has been a pleasure. It has really been a pleasure. You've made my job easy, I must say. I didn't have to get the gavel and beat on the table and say, cut it out, cut it out. everybody have been professional. You've handled yourself professional, and I am very pleased. It's really been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. So, no one else has come on. So if that be,
Chair
Actually,
Russell, I'm
Vice
sorry.
Mayor Davis is here.
Yes, Member Davis is here now.
oh, you came out the woodworks, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're gonna try not to hold you all long. Mr. Gay, what we're gonna do is, instead of having a moment of silence, we all have given a little spiel, so that's enough encouragement for us. Don't forget to vote, if you have not voted yet. So let's have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll move on through the agenda. Someone lead us, please.
okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America
America.
And to
and
the
to the
republic,
republic for which it
Stands
one
one
nation,
nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
Visible.
with liberty and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Okay. The minutes from the previous meeting, hopefully everyone have had an opportunity to go over them and read them. Can I get someone to move the minute?
Move the minutes for meeting for September 9th, 2020.
Moved by Board Member Paget,
Second,
second by Board Member Davis. Roll call, please.
Okay, Board Member Byrd,
Yes,
okay. Board Member Davis,
yes.
okay. Board Member Paget,
Yes, I apologize.
okay. And Chair Russell,
Yes.
okay. Minutes approved.
Okay, the clerk informed us that there were no public comments, so we're beyond that. And I'm going to turn it over to the hands of our director, Mr. Gay. And keep in mind that there's another meeting following this, so if we could make this sweet, short, and to the point.
Well, I can probably do at least 2 out of the 3.
Okay.
I'll try to make it short and to the point. I don't know about the sweet part, but as I stated before, there are a few items that are going to be upcoming that the CRA board is going to have to be very cognizant on. Several months ago, we did what was called a memorandum of understanding, which is supposed to be in essence, a contractual agreement between the city and the CRA. When we passed this legislation back in February of this year, right before the pandemic, we basically brought to you a boilerplate document with not a lot of variations to it. And it really was just beginning to speak to some of those concerns as it relates to the interrelationship between the CRA and the city. Since that time, there are some things that have been brought to our attention as it relates to the memorandum of understanding and things that needed to be added to the memorandum of understanding. One thing you do have to understand that the memorandum of understanding is a document that has to be reviewed on an annual basis. And we feel that as we go into a new fiscal year, this is pretty much the best time in order to look at this document and see whether there needs to be any changes or modifications to it. One thing that we will be bringing forth to you as it relates to a change to this document is a section that addresses, and it's actually in section 3. And unfortunately, we did not provide you with a copy of your memorandum of understanding. If you have a copy of it with you, you can look at Article 3 of the memorandum of understanding. Section 3.3 is like the last piece for that particular section, which deals with annual statements and payments. It was recommended by Miami-Dade County as they review through this document, that we add on a section called 3.4, which deals with trust payments. As you may be aware, the city has not been as eagerly a steward during our financial challenges in making the TIF payments at the proper time. And we've been going through the gyrations with that. As you may recall, we just did you just moved on the item at our last meeting dealing with the reconciliation of the funding between the CRA and the city. And we're still continuing through that particular process. As a way of memorializing that relationship between the city and the CRA, we're going to be adding a section to the Memorandum of Understanding 3.4, which is called Trust Payment. And it's going to read as follows. Any taxing authority that does not pay the incremental revenue to the trust fund by January 1st shall pay to the trust fund an amount equal to a 5% percentage of the amount of the increment revenue, and shall pay interest on that amount of the unpaid increment revenue equal to 1% for each month the increment is outstanding, providing the agency may waive such penalties and payments in the whole or in part. So in essence, what that's basically saying, that if the city or the county, and in this particular instance is with the city, if they do not make their payment of their TIF allocation by January 1st, that there will be a penalty and interest in order for that particular cost, until that cost is basically paid either in part or in whole. Now, there is Florida statutes which supports having this payment done within a timely manner. And we've actually borrowed some of the language from the state statute itself, which establishes January 1st as that deadline date. So we're going to be proffering that to you as a amendment to our Memorandum of Understanding in order to memorialize it within the agreement between the city and the county. I mean, the city and the CRA.
I have a question. Does any board members have a question concerning that? My question, go ahead, Mayor Paget, I see you.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm looking through my emails right now.
Okay. Mr. Manager, does that mean that, first of all, is that standard language in most CRA agreements? And go ahead, answer that one first, please.
Well, as I said before, there is a place in the state statutes which actually addresses when trust payments shall be made. They should be made on an annual basis, and they do have a date where the payment should be made. And if they're not made, those payments are subject to penalty and or interest to be charged. So we pretty much just memorialized it within our Memorandum of Understanding, stating that the interest would be 1% for each month that the TIF is not paid or it remains outstanding in relationship to that part or in whole. So that way we will know that the city will be making those TIF payments, hopefully on a timely basis.
Okay, so you're saying that that's suggested language, or they're telling, did that come from the county saying that they are, they're telling us that needs to be added to our Memorandum of Understanding, or that's a suggestion that they're making?
Based on the information that we received, the county recommended that we add this language to our Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay, and in the recommendation, did they come up with the percentage of the 1% as well?
That's what the information that was referred to us, yes.
Okay, okay. Anyone else?
I would just like the language and the documents that was presented to be brought before us so that I can see them and follow along.
Okay,
We'll be presenting it to you when we formalize it as a part of a resolution.
okay. Mr. Gay, if you can get it to us or get it to the board members ahead of time so that they can vet it if need be, and if they want to give any suggestions, it would be good if that's done before the meeting so we don't have to spend so much time in going through it. If they get it ahead of time and they can send you back any comments or concerns that they may have concerning the language. And then if you could send us a copy of what the state has so that we could compare, compare the two.
Okay, we'll provide that information to you.
Okay. All right, next, Mr. Gay.
That was the only one that we focused on at this time as it relates to the memorandum of understanding. There may be some other matters as it relates to the memorandum of understanding as we're going through all of these particular documents. And there is some reference within the memorandum of understanding to the CRA Board of Directors bylaws. That is another document that needs to be worked on as well to make sure that there is no conflicting language between the memorandum of understanding and the bylaws. I know one thing that was expressed by the county and as well under the general auditor's operation audit. And it more so spoke specifically with the terms of office for those who were appointed to the CRA board and having that a little bit more spelled out and well defined. It doesn't really speak to a term of office or a term limitation. It was somewhat vague on that particular language. And that's something that needed to be also brought forth before you so that you can formalize it as well. So we will be bringing that information back before you.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Of any board members that have questions, I have a few questions for Mr. Gay. Okay, Mr. Gay, how are we looking with the facade program? How's that coming along?
Well, that's actually another one of the items that we're going to be presenting before you. So
Okay.
if you want to conclude with the memorandum of understanding, we can move forward with that.
Yes. Doesn't look like anyone else had any questions. No one said anything. Board member Burke, Paget, or Davis. They didn't have any concerns. Doesn't look like. So you can move to the next item.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. The next report is going to be giving the status of the facade and business assistance project. This is a project that we're doing in conjunction with Opa-locka Community Development Corporation. Mr. Corian Delane is the project manager for this particular project. So he will be providing you an update as to where we are on the status of this project. Mr. Delane.
Good afternoon, everyone. In regards to the facade improvement program, I'm happy to announce that the program has yielded, I believe, 6 applicants. The applicants are an array of both commercial and industrial properties, primarily along the 27th Avenue corridor, 22nd Avenue, and Alibaba. On the call today is Eric, as well as Marcia. I'm not sure through this format would they be able to give a presentation if they can swap over. I know they prepared some information in regards to where they are with the app.
Okay. All right, I didn't see either one of them. Maybe I missed it. I didn't see Marcia or,
Well, they're raising their hands, but I don't know if they're able to speak. They're
okay,
both raising their hands.
okay. Okay, I see Marcia and I see,
Okay,
okay,
I think IT swapped them over.
okay. How much time do they need, Mr. Dillon?
It should be a quick update, so no more than 5 minutes.
Okay, all right, 5 minutes. Go ahead.
All right. So thank you, Chairperson. Appreciate the time here. So yes, we did receive 6 applications for the project, all for facade related. As we discussed in the past, there was a public notice. There was an application period until September 30th, and then we completed applications up to October 15th. So of the 6 that were submitted, 5 have been determined to be eligible for the program, and we submitted a summary sheet to staff for each of those. So the projects are for the front facades of buildings. They cover signage, painting, doors, windows, canopies. 2 are on commercial corridors, 1 being on 22nd Avenue, 1 on 27th Avenue, and 3 of the properties are more industrial. 2 of those are on Alibaba Avenue as well. So we feel that all of them fit the criteria of the program. The awards range between around $7,000 up to $25,000, and we're working within the guidelines. Also, each of the applicants submitted a timeline as well as their contractor bids, and we're happy that 4 of these projects can be completed just at the end of 2020, so in late December. So they're ready to go, and the 5th project would be completed around February. It adds a little bit more work. So staff has asked us to provide some site signage for the projects as well, and we're working on the designs that'll recognize the improvement, very similar to what is posted now with the milling and resurfacing projects.
Okay, sounds good. My question was gonna be about the signage, so you already answered my question. That's good. Any of the other board members, do you all have any questions for Mr. Strickland? You did say one of the projects will be completed in February. Is that the one that's the larger amount of $25,000?
Yes.
Yeah, so that project consists of a larger outdoor storage area and fencing, which will require a little bit more permitting.
Okay. All right, you said they're doing windows, doors, and signage?
Correct. So, and Marcia Grant is on our meeting as well with any specific questions for those that you have in the applicants.
Did you want some more information? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
The business owners were supposed to also contribute to the project.
Correct.
Okay, is that happening?
Well, I mean, it'll happen when, we haven't started we haven't been approved to move forward. But yes, they were aware of that, and they all said that they would be contributing their 33 1/3%.
Okay, okay, all right, sounds good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I want to start. They want to start.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, and you have 6 applicants. You said 1 on 22nd, 1 on 27th, and the rest are in the industrial quarter?
Correct. We had 6 applicants, 5 of which we recommended for approval. The 6th was outside of the CRA boundaries, so it was not approved. So we'll see 5 projects funded. The total funding for the 5 projects is $81,000. There was $100,000 allotted for it.
Okay. All right, looks like we have a little change left over. Any-
Madam Chair.
Okay, Board Member Davis.
Sorry about that. I guess just to get an update, I see that the properties you said 2 were on 22nd Avenue, 2 on 27th Avenue, and I guess we touched some industrial properties on the Alabama Avenue corridor. Did I hear that correctly, Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Mr. Strickland.
Thank you. Yes, Board Member Davis, 1 property was on 22nd Avenue, 1 on 27th, 2 on Alibaba, and 1 just off of Alibaba. So those last 3 being industrial and the first 2 commercial.
Okay. The reason I asked was because, of course, I supported. I really wasn't a big fan of the project simply because its limitations based on the CRA, the CRA boundaries. So as you know, 22nd Avenue, 27th Avenue, the Alabama corridor, really the Alabama corridor being our main thoroughfare, is really one of our major intersections in the city. One of the reasons I wasn't necessarily a fan of it was because of, I just didn't think the project would make, that much of a splash or impact, being that, just very hard to kind of concentrate, the type of businesses that will be eligible. Are we still considering a phase 2? I know that was once brought up, I think, by Mr. Gay, and this was supposed to be the first step into what is to become a pilot program. And being that, I guess we have an extra, like 20,000, extra 20,000 that'll be left over. Are we looking at that yet, or are we just trying to pretty much get our footing with the pilot program?
Mr. Gay.
Board Member Davis, what you basically have said is basically the protocol that we're trying to follow. First and foremost, we want to basically utilize those funds that are available right now and pretty much exhaust those particular funds. Once we pretty much conclude that, we are looking at a second allocation. And the thought process with the second allocation is to look at the intersections that are within the CRA and possibly focusing on properties within within those intersections in the CRA to kind of cluster those particular businesses so they can have much more of a visible impact of making a change to the facades within specific intersections versus the facades being done somewhat sporadically. We understand that this one coming out the chute was pretty much our first stab at it. So we just wanted to kind of get those individuals or those businesses who were interested to at least be, in the chute right now. They will probably be our best marketing for the next phase, especially if we do this right and everybody has a very good feeling as to the process and it's very cooperative. They will be the ones to be able to sell this to the next property owners to say, hey, it worked out well. We were able to do this. Our business is doing much better from a visual perspective, and it's affecting our bottom dollar at the end of the day. So we're going to be looking at that and rolling out a phase 2, which has already been budgeted. So we are looking at doing a phase 2.
Okay. Through the chair, thank you, Mr. Gay. Of course, we're very hopeful that we will have a more comprehensive project moving forward and something that will, really stand out in our city. So thank you for all the work that you, as well as our partners, the Opa-locka CDC, and managing the facade improvement project. And I look forward to what is to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Davis. And Marcia, Ms. Grant, do you have anything you would like to add? I know
No,
that I know you've been working hard behind the scenes.
no, I don't have anything I'd like to add at this time.
Okay.
Just, let's get moving.
We look forward to having those signs go up so that the community will see, and maybe it's something they can put on the marquee that that leads into the city, letting them know that these projects are taking place. So as people ride throughout the city, they'll know what's going on. So I look forward to seeing those signs going up.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I also want to point out within the program, the additional funds that me and Eric had a conversation that there may be some potential for some other opportunities with that. And he provided us a letter, but I want to give Eric the floor so he can kind of give the board an idea of what we were talking about. If Eric want to speak.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Delane. Yes, one of the suggestions for the funds, because as Commissioner Davis had pointed out, under the pilot program, it's very spread out amongst the CRA boundaries. As part of the downtown Opa-locka master plan, what we have suggested that there's some consideration for an event downtown, and we've presented to staff our 2020 events, which consist of 3 cultural events for consideration of a co-sponsorment. So the thought was, again, to look at the residual funds and consider the downtown plan and, much more of a CRA activating standpoint of hosting them. We do have a project with with Miami, which is a light project. In about 2 weeks, when they open the Underline in Brickell, they will be doing a very similar project as part of that grand opening. So we're interested in bringing that up to Opa-locka. It's a visual poetry display at night. So we have some interesting ideas that we've just kind of documented as possibilities, and look forward to working with staff as we could refine those as potential to use some of this remaining funding.
Thank you, Mrs. Strickland. Mr. Delane, sounds good. When we had the walkthrough about a week or so ago with the group that's doing the downtown master plan, that was one of the things that have been brought up to bring some activity to downtown Opa-locka. And I think that would be a great idea. And I'll just throw it out to the board. One of the things that was brought up is that we have a lot of businesses that things are made here in Opa-locka. And a great selling point was made in Opa-locka. The guy that does the company that does the t-shirts, I think for the Miami Heat or the winning teams, they're made here in Opa-locka. You have a brewery made in Opa-locka. So that was the pitch, and I know the mayor likes pitches. So made in Opa-locka, that would be a great segue into doing something in that downtown area. I think it would be great to light up. If you really look, if you ride downtown Opa-locka at nighttime, and when the lights down Opa-locka Boulevard are lit up, it is really beautiful. When you go to the old City Hall and look all the way down and all those lights are lit up, it is really beautiful downtown. So I look forward to something taking place, Mr. Delane, Mr. Strickland, and board members. I look forward to supporting something going on in downtown at night or in the evening time.
Okay, very good.
Go ahead, Mr. Yang.
If there aren't any other questions, concerns relating to the facade and business assistance program, we're going to go ahead and transition into the downtown master plan. We've already kind of begin to have that conversation. And I'm glad that you Chairwoman, had an opportunity to participate and go through the walkthrough. You even had your shoes changed in the middle of the walk to make sure that you would be comfortable getting through the entire process, because it was a little warm, but I think it was a walk that was worthwhile to really see what is really on the ground level of opportunities for creating our downtown.
No, it wasn't warm, it was hot. And
Yes.
they didn't tell me how long and how far we were gonna walk, but that's all right. My husband said he gonna have me in shape the next time.
Well, that just means you got your steps in for that particular day.
Someone had to bring me some shoes and some water. Okay, but we gonna get through it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so Mr. Delane has been also shepherding that particular project as well, and he's going to give you an update as it relates to the downtown master plan status. Mr. Delane.
Okay. In regards to the downtown master plan, as you heard previously, staff along with Chairwoman Russell and members of the CDC were able to have a walkthrough with the consultant Stantec of the downtown to kind of get a firsthand account of the area, basically getting them a layout of properties, vacant properties, kind of painting a picture in their minds of what is and what can be. The next steps will be for the consultant to conduct interviews as well as group think tanks to get a firsthand account from the residents and local stakeholders to have a firsthand account verbally on what can be done in the downtown. I believe they're on the call as well. It is Jared Beck and David Dixon. If IT could possibly shift them over, they'll be able to give a brief synopsis of where they are. Okay, they're shifting over now.
This is David. Jared, do you want to? You had the privilege and honor of actually being on the walk. Do you want? So maybe you're better positioned to introduce us here.
Sure. Well, thank you everyone for the couple minutes just to give you an update. We did have an opportunity to do a walkthrough with staff and Chairwoman the other week. Eric as well from the CDC joined us. And so it was a really good opportunity to have a fresh look at the things that are occurring downtown. A wonderful amount of opportunity, obviously some challenges that we need to work through as a community, but I think that your CRA is really putting good steps forward that will help in achieving that. At this time, being in the earlier process of where we're at, we have now just started working on the target market analysis, as well as also beginning on the overall parking study and assessment of what the existing availability is. We'll then be tying that into the current land uses and actual uses of buildings to start to look at how we can better interrelate these things and some of the programs that will be occurring. In the next week or so, David and I will be working on a more detailed kind of task outline and schedules for specific elements within that, as well as continuing to work with staff in arranging various discussions and just stakeholder groups with key folks or organizations within the city, and more specifically, those that are vested downtown. And that's going to range everywhere from perhaps the Tri-Rail as an example to some of the larger landholders within the downtown area. So in short, we're really excited. I think it's a great project. We're glad to be getting going and working with you on that. So that's my quick overview. And I'd ask David if you want to offer anything else, or if Mr. Delaney, there's something else we should touch on, please let us know.
The only thing I would quickly offer is we are really looking forward. I like to use the term sort of deep dive for the interviews we're going to do. We to be able to see Opa-locka through your eyes, we can see it through our eyes. To see it through your eyes and your minds will be of just tremendous value to us. And we have I've said this before, we are entering a period for Opa-locka, for Dade County, for all of North America, where walkable urban places, diverse, mixed use, have opportunities they haven't had for maybe 30 or 40 or 50 years, just based on changing demographics. And we really look forward to helping you, but that's helping you, partnering with you is the right term, to really unlock these opportunities. So thanks.
And let me just conclude with, and I'd like to thank Mr. Dixon and Mr. Beck for being a part of the whole process, and as we continue to move forward. One of the things that I'd like to express is that as we evolve through this, looking at the downtown and creating this walkable community that they're speaking about, that is the same things that we're hearing from some of the development community that is interested in doing some things within our community. And they are focusing within our CRA areas. There's been talks of opportunities for developing within the barracks area and making that into a much more in-town, downtown type of community with easy access to employment opportunities just within the industrial area to the west. We have a considerable amount of areas within our downtown area. And we did an assessment some years ago. And I think once we really get a good visual of what our downtown can actually look like, we can see how the possibility of creating somewhere between 500 to 1,000 units of mixed use development and housing can occur within our downtown area. So those are some of the things that are already beginning to be expressed by those within the development community. So we want to be able to position the city so that we can definitely take advantage of that. One of the things that we definitely need now, and I think Mr. Dixon spoke about it, they need to have access to you as board members and access to the stakeholders to find out what it is you are looking to see from this downtown master plan. The downtown master plan isn't about one or two people having some specific ideas. It's not about the planning and community development department having ideas. It's really an evolution of all that are involved: property owners, the CRA, the commission, as well as those stakeholders. So we want to be able to get everybody's input. And I know the pandemic has made things somewhat challenging, but there's always an opportunity for a conference call. There's opportunities for Zoom. We have the technology in place to make these things occur. So we would ask that you make yourselves available so that we can conduct these interviews as quickly as possible. We're hoping to have this project completed somewhat within the springtime of 2021. So as you can see, our timeline is somewhat short. We're being very aggressive about that because we want to have a product in place. So when the development community begins to make their proffers, we can equally say, this is what we would like to see Opa-locka evolve into. So that pretty much concludes what we'd like to discuss as it relates to the downtown master plan. If there's any other questions or concerns, we can address them at this time.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir, Board Member Davis.
Thank you. Thank you through the chair to Mr. Gay and the team. Thank you guys for developing a downtown development plan. I know some time back we revamped our zoning code. So with that, there are a lot of things that are indeed marketable, such as zoning changes, which includes density and usage, as well as just opportunities for development. I know in the past we also had developers forums where we kind of loosely marketed those ideas and that sort of thing, but we have not as of yet been able to, I guess, package what we would want to see from a development perspective in our city. So whatever that is, as far as like offering incentive packages and that sort of thing, you know, we have yet to define that. So I'm hoping that, you know, with this newfound project, and you know, since we're in the planning stages, it's not scheduled to take place until next year. You know, I would hope that that would be also, you know, considered as well, because you know we do, you know, Opa-locka is not a city of the past. You know, we're moving fast in the new direction, and we want to, we want to make sure that our neighbors and the developers and you know just the market at large, know about the changes and know about the opportunities that ultimately exist in our community. So I would hope, that's included in some way. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And one thing I will also challenge you on, and I need to put this thought process in the board members' heads. When we meet with these particular developers, if it's not the first question, it's definitely the second question. Incentives. We really need to look at opportunities to package some type of incentives for development to occur. And I know that we kind of in a unique situation with a pandemic on one side and financial challenges on the other, but we can work through this and be able to offer some incentives to encourage those developers to want to put their new development or their new project within our municipality. So I'm going to throw that out there to you all, give you maybe a month or two to mull over it, and then come around the first of the year, we're going to have a discussion as it relates to what type of incentives we need to develop for the Opa-locka CRA.
I'll just note that we're going to share this task with you. We've got somebody on the team who's I think the best person I know at thinking about incentives, and one of her mantras is an incentive is an investment, not a grant. So we want to really help you develop tools that you can be confident represent good investments on the part of Opa-locka. So.
Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for the presentation. I'm excited about this downtown master plan and really revitalizing our downtown area. One of the just quick points I want to hope that's in our minds is the being more strategic with our facade programs and stuff like that. I know within that downtown development, there will be some probably suggestions about facade programs. So currently our program is stretched as Vice Mayor said, across the city. And it'll be great if we can start to concentrate those with the actual design element. So we're going to be investing in the properties for them to develop. Let's invest in them to meet the standards of our downtown master plan when it comes to design and that walkable city. And I would love to have that level of concentration so that when our residents can look back, they can walk in the area and see, you know what, this facade program helped out this business, and they can see it very straightforward as a permanent installation in that area. So I just want to hope that that is part of the thinking, because I think that can make a big impact on how we are spending these TIF dollars and these CRA funds to improve this city. Thank you.
I'm going to mention that compact critical mass is the key to making visible change. And it's always difficult because there are lots of people who have good ideas and good projects. One of the things we look forward to doing, and then we'll duck under a table now, is help you, give you tools so you can set priorities that are credible and transparent, that really say we are investing here because the whole will be greater than the sum of the parts.
Thank you.
It can be a political challenge. That's the.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Gay?
That pretty much wraps it up for the discussion items.
Okay. Thank you to the team that for the downtown project. I really look forward to great things. It was a very, I think it was a very successful walkthrough, and I look forward to us having some meetings with the community so that we can get the community involved and get them engaged in the conversation as well, as to what they would like to see in the downtown area. So thank you again. Great job, Mr. Gay.
Okay. And with nothing else being said, we're going to move on to, I guess, the director's report. The director's report is pretty much a summation of a lot of the things that we've already discussed today. I'm going to just pretty much jump down to some of the more important items. As you know, we've been going through the reconciliation process with the TIF trust account and the city's general fund. And we did basically approve for a transfer of funds to go back to the city as it relates to the seed dollars that we utilized from water and sewer. So that action has already begun to occur. Also as a result, we are looking at the CRA receiving dollars from TIF dollars from the city as well as from the county. Those allocations will be coming forth during the month of December. And we should pretty much have a very nice sizable amount for our fiscal year. We're estimating that we will be in receipt of over $1 million in TIF revenues from the city as well as Miami-Dade County. And there will be some carryover from our last fiscal year. So we will have a significant amount of dollars within our trust account for use within the CRA. Other things that we want to cover is we're waiting to see what the allocation may be as it relates to the CRA's contribution to Historic City Hall and the completion of that restoration project. The Opa-locka Public Works Department is in the process of conducting an assessment of the site at this time to determine what the scope of the services of work remains to be done in order to get that project completed. Once that is done, then there will be a discussion probably with the CRA board as well as with the city commission to determine whether there needs to be any additional matching funds from the CRA to assist in this particular project. There's already discussions about dollars coming from Miami-Dade County on the from the global bond allocation, the county bond allocation. But until we get a better feel for what that assessment is going to be, that will determine whether there will need to be additional dollars put into that project from the CRA. So that would be something that's forthcoming. I kind of spoke to you about some miscellaneous projects. One of them being to talk about creating an incentive program. The others that will need to be addressed is creating a logo for the city. I'm actually speaking with a graphic designer right now to see about an opportunity to create some type of logo idea so that we can put that forth, because that's going to be very important as far as how we market ourselves to the general community, in terms of enticing people to come to Opa-locka and do development and create businesses. So we're looking at creating that logo. We talked about updating the bylaws. That's something that definitely needs to be addressed as we move forward and making sure that we follow the rules and regulations as it relates to maintaining our CRA. I kind of spoke about the logo, and the reason I spoke about that is because we need to really establish how we market ourselves beyond the confines boundaries of the CRA and the city of Opa-locka. We need to have something that's going to be, you know, kind of unique, something that's kind of snappy. And what I've noticed with other CRAs throughout South Florida, one of the things that they're doing is putting up street banners in order to define their CRA district, and using that as a marketing tool to entice people to show that there's some changes occurring or changes that are about to occur within our CRA area. One that's been brought to our attention is what the city of Miami Gardens did during the Super Bowl, where they wrapped a number of their vacant lots with screening with information on it to show what's being marketed for their particular CRA areas and what's going to be developed sometime in the not so distant future. We need to look at doing something very similar along those lines as well, because we need to basically say, we're open for business, we're readily available, and we want to give people an opportunity to have a reason to live, work, and shop and enjoy themselves in Opa-locka as well as all the other communities. And last but not least, creating an opportunity for public-private partnerships. There are a few properties that are city-owned within the CRA area. And we have been approached by different development groups that are interested in doing something on those particular properties. The CRA would be a very strategic instrument in order to create these public-private partnerships, due to the fact that we have, you know, a significant amount of TIF dollars that are actually being drawn in. And there are some other opportunities for some type of creative financing that can be done within CRAs as well. So we want to look at those opportunities to repurpose some of those particular properties, and have them developed as a joint venture project or a public-private partnership project. So we want to look at those particular opportunities as well. So we're going to be bringing some information relating to those back to you, probably after the first of the year, in order to see how we can more or less formalize these particular relationships and see what type of developments can occur. That's pretty much going to wrap up for the director's report. If there's any other questions or concerns relating to the report, I'll address them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Board members, do you have any concerns or questions for the director? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Gay, I would just like to encourage you. I know that we're waiting on the city concerning the historical city hall, but when we did the walkthrough, one of the suggestions were made about putting that screening around that property and putting something catchy right there so that when people come there, they don't just see that building kind of, you know, not, I know the grass wasn't cut. I don't know why the grass wasn't cut. Maybe it's because it had rained so much and Public Works just didn't have time to get there. But to make it look more presentable, like you said, with that mesh, a green mesh, that welcome to the city of Opa-locka or something catching right there. Also, the second thing is that property where the old Kentucky Fried Chicken on 27th Avenue. I know that they're supposed to be developing that property. That's in the CRA's boundaries, right?
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's not in the CRA's boundaries. It should be, but it's not in the CRA's boundaries, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, all right, that's my, the historical city hall. I really want to see us move on that project. I see people continuously board members riding through Opa-locka and stopping there in front of the historical city hall, taking pictures, you know, video shooting. So we need to do something with the appearance of that property. Okay, that's it for me. It's nothing else. Board members? Okay, if not, we are going to adjourn the meeting. Everybody be safe.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Peace.
All right.
Take care.